So please welcome our panelists. Look at our video that we've prepared and put your hands together for our speakers and welcome them on stage.
Welcome to my panelists. We're going to introduce them pretty quickly. My name is Nick. I'm with Nikkei. I'm based in Tokyo. I've been living in Japan for quite some time. But we always look into it's me probably. We always look what's happening obviously in the rest of Asia and the rest of the world, being a rather large company. And that's why it's great to be, for me, the first time at BlockShow. I don't know for you guys. First time? All first time?
No, we've been here last year as well.
Your mic doesn't work. I think we'll have to fix that. So the topic of this is from Shilling to product marketing, shifts in blockchain marketing from 2000. We have some technical issues. Shifts from 2017 to 2019. Obviously, I'm pretty sure everyone in this room knows what it means. Those two different numbers, 2017, 2019. A lot of things have changed. Some people would say things got worse. Some people would say things matured. But we have a great panel, this afternoon, right after lunch. So I'd like to welcome our panelists, and maybe it's the best if we start with their self-introduction. I'm sure they're going to do a much better job than myself. Mansoor, shall we start from your side there?
Hello. Oh, it works. So my name is Mansoor. I'm a partner on Blockchain Founders Fund. We invest in early stage companies, and we also run a consulting arm that works with government clients, central bank clients. We're working on one of the flagship projects with the United Nations around blockchain and emerging technologies for use in alleviating poverty and providing access to capital and whatnot.
Thank you. Fred?
Yeah, I'm with Factblock. We focus on corporate partnerships, government partnerships in Korea, and we're the main host for Korea Blockchain Week.
Thank you. SINHAE.
Hi. Hi everyone, my name is SINHAE Lee and I'm a partner at GBIC and Block 72. So GBIC is a crypto fund. We are based in US, New York, Shanghai, China, and Seoul, Korea, because we think that these three markets are the most important market for the crypto world. And we invest in over 50 projects from early 2017. And we established a consulting arm so that we can help projects when they go to the other market. So for example, if a US market, when they want to enter China or Korea, we want to help them with our Asian arms and vice versa. And the consulting arm's name is Block 72. So we have been working with some big exchanges such as Bittrex and Bitfinex, and also some big projects when they go to help with their go-to-market strategies.
Perfect. Thank you, SINHAE. Justin from CoinState, please.
Hey everyone, my name is Justin Wu. I'm the co-founder of CoinState, and we are a growth marketing and PR firm based in West Coast in LA. And we help blockchain companies build communities. Specifically now, we're really focused on developer communities, as well as helping projects reach out to enterprises as well. We host Seattle DevCon, the largest Seattle blockchain conference, E3 Blockchain Gaming Summit during June in LA, and then San Francisco Blockchain Bridge as well too. So most of the communities that we help build are more organic forms of marketing and growth to actually help projects build and rally and collaborate with other projects that's out there.
Perfect. Thank you all for the introduction. Next thing, I think one thing I forgot, sorry. There is a Slido thing. That's me. There is a Slido. We want to make it interactive as possible, the QR code, or just go to the website. Please ask questions. We're going to try to address as many questions as possible on this panel. We want to make it very cooperative and interactive. So you guys mentioned you all do interesting stuff, obviously in the blockchain space and the crypto space. Where are you personally all based from? I'm just curious if you can define one place that you're based.
So I call it the future of housing, decentralized living. And so essentially, I don't have a home. Just with the nature of our portfolio and our consultant clients, we're always traveling. However, we do have an office in Beijing and here in Singapore.
Fred?
Yeah, I spent my whole life in New York City, and I recently moved to Seoul, South Korea.
So basically, SINHAE pretty
Yes.
similar, I guess.
Sure. Yeah, I used to live and work in Silicon Valley, and I moved to Seoul about a year ago.
And I think you answered already, but just
Yeah, mostly most on the West Coast, LA, San Francisco, and Seattle. It's just 1-hour flights each, but just been hopping around, building communities around there.
so as you can see, very diverse in terms of ecosystem environments that obviously brings a different perspective to the space. Quick question for you. I mean, the title of this topic is obviously kind of a comparison between 2017 and 2019. If you can use a sentence, maybe two, to describe for your businesses what was 2017 only, and then we'll see what's happening later. Who wants to start?
So 2017, we would have been very focused on ICOs and launching, with a lot of the projects we work with, there was a lot of investment in tokens. I would say 2019, our focus has really shifted more so to like blockchain and B2B companies. And it's very focused on generating revenues and securing clients, POCs, for the projects that we're working with. So it's very much focused on generating value to the portfolio company's clients.
Were your projects global in 2017 already, or are you focusing on a?
It's expanded. In 2017, we did have a few from Europe, a few from the US, and some in Asia. But I would say since then, the portfolio has expanded to having companies spread over 5 continents.
Fred, 2017.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure everyone knows there was, a ton of speculation. Everyone was focused on fundraising, money grabbing. Now it's really focused on, hammering out some real BD, right? So getting things done.
SINHAE, 2017.
Yeah, 2017 was fighting for an allocation to invest in your money. And then everyone said money is cheap at the time because everyone wants to put a lot of money on projects. In 2019 and 2017, I think we invest in a lot of layer 1 mainnet projects, and I think 2019 is more about very selective on your investments and your movement. And we are really interested on a lot of real use cases. And we actually see a lot in Asia. So for example, big corporates are trying to make real use cases. So for example, Kakao and even Samsung with their new phone with the wallet, crypto wallet embedded. And we see a lot of big corporates are getting into the market, and even like the smaller projects without the real use cases, I think it's very hard to survive in this market.
We'll come to 2019 and beyond. Just in 2017 on the West Coast.
Yeah, it's just all been hype, mass awareness, very short-term thinking, marketing campaigns, just flashing the plan stuff, just trying to get as much chill awareness, influencers, and testimonials, and big hype backing behind that. That was all of 2017.
Since we have some audience now, who thinks 2017 was a good year for crypto? Not many people. Who thinks it was a bad year? Equally amount of not many people. I guess it was neutral.
Depends which side of 2017.
I guess it was neutral. So you guys work in a different. What I would say, you all contribute to the ecosystem. You all contribute to building awareness, also education and so on. Maybe in different aspects, whether is it from supporting the ecosystem, marketing, events making, but also investment. And I think especially SINHAE and MANSOOR, but to the first degree, but maybe the others can also say how has investment changed? How are the investors behaving now as opposed to 2017? Who wants to start? From the investing perspective, right?
Yeah, so one of the things that, like in 2017, we did a lot of token investments. And we found that, if you look at where those companies are now, I feel like the allocation of those resources wasn't necessarily effective. And so we've switched to kind of doing earlier stage investments.
Like VC.
Like VC, so we're moved to an equity model. But then we've also launched a venture building program where we work with some of those companies to help them, with the go-to-market and product validation, help them bring on some clients and whatnot. And so far, that's gone quite well. So one of the things that we found...
Would you call it an accelerator or?
I wouldn't call it an accelerator. We don't really want to, train them on a lot of the typical business stuff. Like they can find that information from other accelerators online. We want to help them, execute on, building out their sales pipeline, taking their clients through that entire sales cycle and closing deals and generating revenues. One of the things that we found is that, and Gartner actually backed this up in a study, that as soon as you mention blockchain in a sales meeting, you're less likely to close a sale. So we have a lot of the projects that we work with.
What do you use instead?
No, so focus on the value that you are delivering for your customers. So we have a lot of our projects just remove blockchain from their website, remove it from their sales material, leave it in technical documentation. You can tell your client that you'll give them like transparency, trust, authenticity, auditability, that sort of thing, but then sell them on the value that your solution is providing to them.
Yeah. SINHAE, maybe from your perspective, the investing landscape?
Yeah, so again, as I briefly mentioned, I think types of projects that we are looking into or we are interested in has been changed a lot. So in 2017, I think again, like a lot of people were like interested in like mainnet and layer one, and at that time, people were, if ever like anyone talks about the use case, like people will say like, hey, how can you try to build the roof if there is no ground and no groundwork done? But I think the industry has been evolved, and I think people right now are really looking into, so what will be the business case and what will be the use case, how the tokens can actually benefit the ecosystem rather than just really good blueprints on the white paper. And I think I think our thesis of investment, like one of the most important criteria is of course the team. And in 2017, we probably still invest in a project if the team has good background on resume, but probably they have never built the business before. But right now, I think we definitely prefer entrepreneurs who have built the real business before rather than just they graduate from MIT, but they only spend their years on labs and they never built projects. So again, we invest in a lot of professor projects again in 2017. But right now, I think we are much more cautious because we want to see how they can operate the team and how can they actually make the business case. And I mean, I still think it's gonna take a few years to build the business case for the token projects, because when the internet first came out, right, Google didn't have any business model. There was no advertisement business model. It took almost 10 years for them to make the business model. So we still think that it's gonna take a while, but we hope that founders have something in their mind that it's just not the donation and foundation, but it's a business that they have to build and they have to benefit either ecosystem users or the real users or any participant into the ecosystem.
Thanks. I mean, that doesn't mean WeWork will ever make money, but but some of the other aspects. Maybe a question for all of you and up for grabs. So I think investors, retail or institutional, made a lot of mistakes in 2017. How much of that was the fault of lack of knowledge or education in the space, or how much of it was maybe aggressive marketing and a hype that was happening?
Yeah, I mean, I think everything was based on a lot of hype, and as long as you just see these crazy green spikes and candles, like it's just greed, right? I think from the retail investor side, as long as somebody's winning, even like on a BitConnect level, like if somebody's getting gains, they're gonna go shill it to their friends and get their friends to go buy it. I've heard so many people that kind of got wrecked by following that suit. So, that whole 2017 was just really about following what other people are doing in terms of wins. Whether they actually look at the project or not, it's questionable, or if they just saw that it's a good investment opportunity, they were just going to go after it in terms of the retail side. What's kind of changed now in terms of a general perspective in terms of investments is kind of more of the, little bit more of the slower type of investments, like things are like all the staking coins that are generating some sort of dividends. Then we're seeing like DeFi or Compound, Maker or Celsius, BlockFi, getting into more of the crypto lending side where you can generate interest, so you can just hodl some of these altcoins. And I think that we're going to continue to see some more shift into that focus, especially as wallets now like Trust Wallet, Exodus Wallet, all these other wallets now are adding, Coinbase is adding staking now, so we're going to see that roll out. Exchanges like Binance is adding staking as well too. So people just want something to do in this current marketplace, and if some of these tokens have those economic models to help people generate some sort of income or interest to help stake, people are just going to kind of park and hodl their crypto into those buckets currently, which is a little bit boring, but that's something to do currently, to hodl.
Maybe Fred, based on your experience as well, how do you guys do due diligence with the partners or people that you're going to get involved with nowadays, right? Considering that we all know what happened before.
Yeah, typically we rely on like funds that we are close to in the space. They usually have a technical DD arm, and usually you could tell pretty well by the investors that's backing the project to see if the project is legitimate or not.
Anyone else on the DD part?
Yeah, so I would say first and foremost is the team. Obviously, as you said, their ability to build a business or any prior experience, or sometimes you're just making a bet on a founder because you really, feel like he understands what he's doing, and you take a chance. I think the second most important thing is most of the time we see that businesses that are successful pivot. They pivot from what their original idea was. And so for us, it's self-awareness, the ability to realize what they don't understand and figure out that they need to understand how to get that information, or know who to go to ask for help. I think that's a really big thing.
Anyone else on DD? Quickly, so we can...
Yeah, of course, like the team is important, but I think especially right now, I think we really care about the token economy, and especially how it's distributed among different parties, like even investors, like team, and like the marketing,
So
and
it's
etc.
pretty similar to a VC, what a mature VC in Silicon Valley would do, right?
Yeah, but they don't have token economy. But I mean, like there are some projects they still think that they can, their project can be valued like 200 million. I mean, that was probably possible in 2017. But like if you come to me and say, hey, we are raising like 10% of our token, and then we are raising 20 million, and it doesn't make sense, right? So we definitely look at like, hey, is it reasonably planned? And we actually also look at not like how we can control, but how we can contribute to the success of the projects.
As a
with the
partner,
token.
not just
Yes,
as an
exactly.
investor, like a mature investor that's not just chasing basically profit, as founders sometimes complain. Quick question for all of you, maybe we can answer in a grade from 1 to 5. How important is marketing for an early stage blockchain or crypto project? in order to get it off the ground. And let's forget about the ICO era, right? Like right now, how important you think it is for them to be visible, to attract investors, customers, and so on and so forth?
I think it's really important. I think that if you see some of the projects that's out there, even like a protocol, that they focus so much on building the tech itself, but they don't have all the DApps, the developers believing in it. And it's also regional too, right? Like if a project, let's say that's in the US, like a protocol, doesn't go out to Asia, they're not going to get the Asian developers. And if they don't invest any of the money, they're just not going to get enough adoption that's out there. So I think that in terms of marketing, though, it's different. You don't go for like the influencer marketing. I think that more organic forms of marketing of sponsoring or hosting side events or doing collaboration events. Let's say you're like a blockchain gaming company, bring on all the other blockchain games together and create content, online content, interviews, articles, be more of a thought leader in the category that you are instead of going for more just like ads and single display marketing that's out there. And so that's kind of what shifted in my opinion. And I think it's really important because like, especially in the bear market now, there are other competitors or other projects that are either drying up or they're not spending any money. You could have opportunity to go attack mode and take the mind share right before we go back to the top. And so my opinion is if you see the projects that's out there, like Tron is just like still doing heavy marketing during the bear market, but doing all these acquisitions, it's like they are getting a more mind share compared to like a Hashgraph that hasn't done any marketing that's out there. They just think that they could, if you could build the best product.
Hashgraph have done a lot of marketing because we
no,
helped.
they did in the initial, but like currently right now, there hasn't do as much marketing.
It's their strategy right now to be
So it's
quiet.
marketing and timing, so not just marketing.
Because
So
we are working with them.
you guys marketing.
I'll add to that though. So, like 2017, like with so many ICOs going on, there was a big focus toward like having the largest Telegram group or like building out their Twitter and whatnot. Since then, like for us, our focus is essentially B2B, and if it's a B2C company, figuring out how they can generate revenues B2B in some way or another. The big reason is like the cost of acquisition, the churn, like this is hard then to, have any sort of predictability in cash flows. And so we're then, instead of focusing on like running ads or anything like that, it's more direct campaigns, like building relationships with those specific businesses, but it's a lot more hyper targeted toward, getting in contact with the right people to make like some of those larger sales.
Fred?
Yeah, everyone knows there's so much noise out there in the market, right? And everyone sees CoinMarketCap. I'm even like talking to investors, and people are always worried when projects don't seem to like update their investors or update community. And I think it's just really important to have the right PR shaped out for the next year and really combining that with partnerships and stuff in your roadmap to make sure and keep everyone aware of what's going on. A lot of projects just kind of disappear and don't update people for 6 months, and it's kind of really upsetting in this market.
Thanks. SINHAE, for you as well, like how important is marketing, maybe your portfolio companies, but also in a general wider picture, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think business aspect in general, not only about the marketing, is as important as technical development because I've seen a lot of Silicon Valley portfolio company, they really focus on the product development only, and they never communicate that with either investor or even the community member, and that's not a good way to run the business. So technical development and the business side should be definitely balanced. And I like totally agree. I think the way we do marketing has changed. Before, people only care about like quantity, right? They will just airdrop a bunch of their tokens so that they can get as many as members on Telegram. But people start realizing that those are not quality users. Those are just cherry pickers. So people who are spending money on marketing should focus on quality, not on the quantity. And I think that's partially because a lot of exchanges at the time also wanted to just look at how many members you have on like Telegram. But now exchanges are all educated that it doesn't mean much, right? So you rather focus on like just like the real business, what's your ARPU, right? What's your like CAC customer acquisition cost, and what's their revenue, right?
So I think it's overall, yes, very important, but also other stuff is important, like product, not unlike, I would say, traditional tech projects, right? But then also timing. I think just that's a very good point to like, and being strategic about it, I guess. We have a question from the audience from Anonymous, but I think it's pretty good to the point. Like, what do you think is the best way to market a project to attract more legit and long-term investors, as opposed to just profit takers? Something that we touched upon before, I guess, from the marketing perspective, right? Who wants to take this one? So attracting the right kind of investors, not just someone who's in it for the money.
Well, so number one, I think that's going to depend on how desperate you are for the money. But I would say the thing is, investors all want a return, right? Whether you're selling tokens or whether you're selling equity. And for you, your job is to demonstrate to them how they're going to make a return on you. For us, usually that means like creating a clear system of how you're, reaching out to your potential customer, how you're gonna, build out that sales pipeline and bring revenues in. Because like at the end of the day, like that's what matters, right? Like the revenue coming in and what's going to the bottom line, and that's, what the shareholders essentially have. So I would say that's the way to demonstrate to them that they should invest in you for that.
I mean, I think every project eventually wants to get investor, what SINHAE mentioned before, like someone, what you guys all kind of do as well. Mansoor, you said, where you want to support them and you want to write the right customers, the right marketing channels, the right, everything for them. So there's another interesting question, but I wanted to ask something along the line as well. And let's stick to marketing here. Like I have a lot of questions that are going outside, but we're running out of time quickly. A lot of you have cross-border experience in different aspects. How important are those cross-border differences between Korea and the US, for example, and Korea and China and the US? Which, I mean, I'm in Japan as well. I know that's very peculiar there. Any examples that you can tell that you should be aware when entering new markets in terms of marketing?
Yeah, it just depends on your regional strategy. For example, like some of the different protocols are just really big in different regions. Like you go Vietnam, it's going to be like Tomo Chain. Like for example, Polkadot and Web3 is just good and big in Berlin, and so they're trying to all enter different markets. What's shifted now, obviously, and you just go around to a lot of these booths that's out there. Everybody's just starts talking about changing their strategy back to just China strategy, trying to take a big piece of that pie since the whole announcement that's been out there. Less focused now on North America. People that are spending money in North America are just going after the enterprises, the POCs, and the developers, just because there's a really strong still developer community on that front.
Would you advise them that you always need local partners or expertise whenever you come somewhere?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
I mean, for sure, right? Like, you can't just hire entry-level person in Korea and expect to get things done with like big corporate partnerships. So, I think like all business is done on trust, and when people see that you're doing big partnerships with, let's say, like Samsung, Hyundai, LG, whatever, it creates more trust in the market that you guys are a legitimate project, right? So.
Yeah, so generally locking down some of those larger partnerships take time, and usually need to secure a handful of smaller ones before some of those bigger ones come to the table. And so for us, usually, in terms of like effective resource allocation, is usually capturing some of those in wherever you're based in that home market. And that's usually going to be the first stepping stone, I think, to reaching out and trying to then expand abroad.
So, I mean, like our fund and our accelerating arm think that China and Korea and US are the most important markets for different reasons. Again, China and Korea are more retail focused, and I think that's where the business innovation and business breakthrough will come from. While the US probably it's where the technical breakthrough will come from, and then also the regulation of thought leadership. So I think like when you want to enter different markets, even though blockchain being global as basis, But when you want to get into the market, you have to think about ROI on your investment. You cannot say that, oh, I want to be number one in every country in Asia, because China is just so different from Korea. Korea is just so different from Japan. Japan is so different from Vietnam, right? So I would recommend to understand your target audience and where you want to go after, right? So some project I know that they say like, I'm going to target Korea first, or I'm going to target China first, because like I have this like things that might appeal to that community better, right? So I think it's important to understand where your strengths are and decide where to go after. And when you decide to go after, be serious, right? Like I think a lot of Asian communities are also kind of tired of Western project who come and then do like intensive marketing for a month and they left. And they feel like those Western projects just came to Korea to get money and then just quickly disappear once they got the money. So I think you don't want to get that kind of reputation. So when you decide to go into the Asian market, be serious and be patient, right? Again, the business partnership takes time, and to build a community and to educate the market, it takes time. It's not going to be done in a month. But I think you have to be serious. Let's plan for the plan how you can actually establish something meaningful in the market.
Thanks. We're going to speed up because we're always running out of time. It happens at every panel I am in. I think a very quick question that I think it's interesting and it's very specific, so we're going to make someone happy. It goes, due to the growing noise and doubt on Twitter specifically, what are the platforms that you would use to for brand awareness?
LinkedIn. LinkedIn is number one right now in terms of social platforms. Think about LinkedIn. LinkedIn has all the top decision makers in the world. Everybody has a profile. There's all the CXOs that's out there. But another fun fact is that there's only 1% of people actually creating content on LinkedIn. Imagine like all the CXOs, they're not going to go out and create any videos that's out there. So immediately, in whatever industry that you're in, like healthcare, supply chain, etc., or I have a friend that does a lot in like gas and oil, he's the only one that does it versus like some 50-year-old that's never going to get in front of there. And so even a lot of people on Wall Street, and they're all on LinkedIn. They're also on Twitter, but there's so much noise. And if you want just like the top connections, you can also just direct message all the top decision makers off LinkedIn. And I think that LinkedIn is an under-tapped platform. It's essentially what they're doing is they're copying every feature off Facebook. So there's LinkedIn groups, LinkedIn Live, etc. So that's just my my thoughts on that.
Anyone else? Platform suggestion?
Yeah, so we're very focused on B2B. So as you said, I think LinkedIn's really good. But again, it depends on the company. So we have some stuff in the e-commerce space where like Insta is very strong for them. So it depends again.
We all have Instagram accounts if you want to follow us, by the way. Okay, so I want to do now, it's something that I picked up from our friends at CB Insights. We're going to do, I mean, they picked it up from somewhere. We're running out of time. Very quick series of questions. When I'm going to tell you something, and then you have to answer, each one of you, underrated or overrated. So not too much commentary, ideally non-commentary, just underrated, overrated. And put this obviously in the context of what we're talking about, marketing for crypto and blockchain. So we're going to start. The first concept is social media, importance of social media. Justin.
Underrated.
SINHAE?
In crypto?
Yep.
Underrated.
Brett?
Underrated.
Underrated.
Good. We have a consensus. The number of Telegram users in your Telegram channel, obviously. Not overall.
Yeah, I guess it's overrated currently now.
Overrated. I think it's almost useless. Half of them are bots.
Overrated.
Overrated.
Oh, consensus. This is pretty boring. Twitter, number of Twitter followers.
That's overrated too.
Overrated.
Overrated.
I'm going to break the mold. I'm going to say underrated. I still think Twitter can be effective.
Okay. And the presence...
In the US. Twitter in the US.
In the US, yeah.
The presence of blockchain and crypto in the mainstream media. Talking about Wall Street Journal, talking about
like Wall
Financial
Street?
Times.
I think it's overrated.
SINHAE?
Importance of
Of having blockchain and crypto news and information in the mainstream media.
underrated. We need more.
I think it's underrated as well too.
Overrated.
Oh, interesting. There you have the rebel there.
Yeah, I think.
Can you why? Yeah.
So the big reason is like it's like covering any sort of technology. So from that part, it's very interesting. But usually, from the perspective of the business, they want coverage on their solution, not that they're using some underlying technology.
Well, I think it's we can do more because if you look at the current markets, it's all same people. I mean, people are really excited about DeFi right now, but again, I mean, I think DeFi is not as important as we currently focus on unless we can bring non-crypto people to use DeFi. So that's why I think the mainstream business or news media should cover more about the crypto.
Okay. I would actually tend to agree with that. Quickly, a few more terms. They're going to kill me because we're out of time. One word only, Libra.
Oh, one word?
Underrated, overrated.
Oh, I think they're underrated.
On par.
Oh, oh.
I think it's underrated.
Overrated?
I would agree with Mansoor on this one. I would say overrated as well. Last two terms very quickly. Retail marketing in crypto.
Overrated.
Underrated.
It's underrated.
Overrated.
And last one, big partnerships in crypto marketing.
Underrated.
Underrated.
Underrated. It's necessary.
Underrated.
Good consensus
Fair.
again. Last one. We have. They're gonna kill me seriously. We have one. Oh no, I think we're running backwards now. It's gonna explode at some point.
right.
Last one sentence you have to promise me is one sentence, and this is someone asked this question. 2020. We talked about 2017 to 2019. What's gonna happen in 2020 in perspective of marketing and crypto projects? More maturity. More of a coming out of the bear market. Like what are your one sentence?
2020 is Walmart Coin, MasterCard, big enterprises, Facebook Libra done right without Facebook.
Nice, I like that.
Real use cases backed by big corporates.
Nice.
There's a lot of government support. China, everyone knows, right?
I think we'll start seeing more companies communicating and delivering that value to their clients.
Perfect. Thank you so much. This was outstanding.
you.
Give a big round of applause to this very interesting panel.
Thank
you guys.